How do you go about adapting the atmospheric, immersive, and emotional identity of a classic video game like Super Mario Galaxy into a feature-length film? The answer, according to Illumination Studios' stab at it in 2026 with the Super Mario Galaxy movie, is that you don't even try, or at least you don't make it the focal point of production. But notice how I'm not disappointed at that reality. I'm not angry, I'm not even apathetic. So let's talk about why I'm fine with being okay, with being fine and okay, about the 2026 Super Mario Galaxy movie just being okay. So with that expectation of a Mario Galaxy adaptation that I just mentioned earlier, 2 decades from the original, and the result, and however which way you want to feel about it, I want to make it my follow-up question to ask, is it really a bad or ungraceful thing for the Mario Galaxy movie to be how it currently is? And from my perspective, as someone who did play Mario Galaxy the game all the way back in 2007, there are 2 ways this movie would rationally feel to me like a fundamental misread or disappointment to its source material. Number 1 is if Super Mario Galaxy the game was this abundant epitome of atmosphere, immersion, and emotion that the movie didn't even come close to replicating or even cribbing. And number 2 is if there was room for a fresh remake of it to heighten or expand upon those artistic qualities of the original that maybe could have done with some better representation, especially when you're given the chance to do it in a new storytelling medium like film. And the first criteria is frankly why I'm not terribly upset at the Mario Galaxy movie and how it came out as it is. Now, this isn't some grand truth bomb about how people treat the original game in retrospect, nor ignorance on my part of there being no artistic qualities to the original game, or not enough to make the experience. Far from it, because there absolutely is. Mario Galaxy on Wii, even playing it now, is breathtaking. It has beautiful space framing for its floating levels. It has a soundtrack that soars to the speed of every launch star you take, and strolls to every pole star you linger toward. It had an entire section dedicated to a thorough introspection of one of its new characters, and what bitter realities shaped them to become who they are today. But at the same time, I wouldn't feel the need to wear a tux, or have a wine, or generally emotionally prepare myself to indulge in a session of Mario Galaxy on Wii, because that's just not the kind of art project it has been to me, at least not overall. Galaxy is beautiful and thoughtful when you stop and take it all in. But it's also a run-and-jump Mario platformer. It has amusing gravity gimmicks, some fun planetoid level design that makes you wrap around everywhere you platform like a pocketable diorama or playset in your hands. It has you grabbing Luigi in awkward places, trying to be just as much of an agent of action as his playable brother. It has the Toad Brigade showing up in random places, getting their asses handed to them by this new space paradigm that a Mario game has never experienced before, and that has always been the appeal of the original Wii game for me. It's Mario unbounded, encountering things as kooky as his grounded adventures in the Mushroom Kingdom, most of the time even more so, while also encountering spheres that hit closer to the heart or have some thoughtful articulation behind them. But the important thing about the original game is that neither wackier Mario stuff in space, nor especially the heartbreaking solemn sectors of this project, never surpass or front-load one over the other. Mario Galaxy isn't just a purely emotional game, or a purely silly game. There's a moment in the game where Mario is called an explorer, and I think that perfectly sums up the balancing act of the game, passing by moments of equal parts brilliance and silliness. Which is why, when the Mario Galaxy movie didn't front-load itself on tragedy or lonely emotion or absolute immersion of space isolation or the drama of Rosalina's character or what Mario and Peach could possibly serve as supports to that backstory, and merely let those aspects pass by or afford the briefest of glimpses in favor of more zany Mario antics, not only did I think it was fair game to do that, I would go as far as to say that it rings fairly true to the same kind of juggling act of Galaxy the game. Nowhere near as well thought out though, I'm not gonna kid myself that far. But let's put it this way, Mario is just as much of a passing explorer in Galaxy the game as he is in Galaxy the movie, encountering silly moments with Yoshi, his friendship with Bowser, going through the weird obstacles and gimmicks of the planets he lands on and the strange inhabitants he meets, while also getting moments to learn about who Rosalina is, how to deal with his budding relationship with Peach, how his friendship with Bowser clashes into his role of being a good father to Bowser Jr. Mario Unbounded, but as a movie, never settling on one mood or silly set piece for a very long time, bouncing and exploring from one planetoid sequence to another. I think it's actually a lot closer to being in the spirit of a literal Mario Galaxy game to movie adaptation than a lot of people will probably give it credit for. However, in a sense, this is also the movie's biggest downfall, literally adapting the cutaway format and candy-coated pacing of a video game into a movie. Maybe it's a little too faithful to being a Mario game turned into a movie when you think about it. And what Mario Galaxy the game, as most video games, will have over the medium of film is the option to choose, because you can just take your time with the immaculate vibes and the storybook segments before jumping into a new platforming level, or even ignore the former and just jump straight into the action. It's all fair game in a game, and it's what makes most games feel like a great social hub or buffet menu, a gateway galaxy to get to the stuff you want to experience, if you will. But in film, there are no such concessions, freedom, or interactivity. Everything has to be planned and controlled as the makers see fit, no questions asked. Admittedly, a lot of my praise for the more patient and deeper aspects of the Mario Galaxy movie are paced pretty well at the opening, kind of get fragmented by the second half, and by those moments, I feel like I've woken up from a daze of being subjected to Mario cutscene action, no start button to get to the parts I want or to take a damn breather. Which brings me to why I'm pretty sympathetic overall to the less positive feedback of the Mario Galaxy movie, and how it misses the chance to do so much more with the artistic and actual narrative qualities of the original game, which I can mostly understand and agree. Like how it emulates Galaxy the game, when it does stop and breathe and get into something more personal or delicate with the story and the character matters, your jaw just drops and you can't help but feel lost in what you've discovered, like stumbling onto Rosalina's library in the game. There were plenty of moments watching the Mario Galaxy movie that had me enamored, causing me to theory craft in my head, and kind of weary that I gotta leave it behind and not indulge in it more because I'm watching a Super Mario movie. I think it says a lot that my favorite parts of the first movie were the Brooklyn parts, and my favorite parts of this movie, of all things, is Mario and Peach's awkward romance, him cheering her up for her birthday. I know I'm just gonna put it out there, I did like the handshake scene. I thought it was kind of cute and kind of cringe, but cute. It actually made me feel things. These were parts that took me out of the Mario roller coaster high I'm typically on with a piece of Mario media, game or movie, and got me to actually see these characters as fluid people, and I really liked it. Now, would I have liked a production dedicated to bringing out more of that dynamic and that patient, subtle storytelling for a franchise that normally triple jumps around that kind of stuff in the medium of games? Oh, yeah, for sure, of course. That would have been 100% the boon the movie franchise would have had as its own thing. But am I also okay with the fact that it only passes by said qualities in favor of wild, colorful Mario antics, pretty much like I'd expect of any Mario media to do? Yeah, I am pretty okay with that. The Mario Galaxy movie, like the first Mario Brothers movie, are there to serve as commercials to the excellent original world of video games that's ready for you to indulge in on your home consoles once you're out of the theater. And may I just say, following that statement, that roller coasters, candy, well-directed commercials, and just well-intentioned things that exist purely to remind you of the breadth of other existing good pieces of media are worthy of praise for what they are meant to do. I mean, you're watching a YouTube reviewer right now. And that's exactly how I take these Mario movies, and especially this particular sequel. I came out of them not feeling like I went through some one-of-a-kind adventure that took Mario and company to exciting new heights that would stand as tall as the best parts of games like Galaxy, Galaxy 2, Wonder, and Super Mario Bros. 2, but instead, I came out of them feeling pretty famished for wanting to play some Galaxy, Wonder, and Mario 2 when I got home that night. I really do want to give credit where it's due. The Mario movies do a brilliant job at making the different Mario parts and syntax that are normally abstract in a video game franchise all sensible and inviting as one cohesive unit. My biggest compliments to them are, one, how hilariously they take video game language and tropes into cartoony realism, which is a bit I always love, no matter where I see it, but also as a reminder of how fun and great and creative the existing Mario universe can really be. Bit of a tangent now since it's been a while, but as I've grown older, I've come to cherish media not from meeting expectations or potential or what I wish it was, but more on what they serve to me practically. My favorite games, my favorite Mario games even, feel at their best like toys or sports to indulge in. And my favorite movies give me direction to where I'm currently going as a person when I get my eyes off the screen. You know, at their best. Not like this. Because at the bare minimum, like movies like these, they serve as a polite relay, a nod towards something much bigger that maybe it wasn't the right thing or the right time to be the one to deliver that message. Which I'll reiterate, is worthy of praise. Because when you or I inevitably face that angsty moment of growing up thinking you're too cool to like lame vanilla Super Mario, these movies will teach you to loosen up and get you to really cherish the artistry of many great, unique, and fun pieces from the medium of gaming. But if you are someone who is already deep into the Mario trenches and come into these movies expecting to find some new quirky kingdom or MacGuffin to collect or some new angle to feel about Luigi and Bowser or Toad to Rosalina or whatever, you're just not gonna get that here. You're gonna mini turbo briefly around those special parts and maybe even get your jaw dropped for a moment, but you'll quickly have to boost past it. And it can be pretty frustrating seeing how Mario has done many great cross-medium and cross-genre experiments that didn't remind you of how good the classics are. And yet, I'm mostly fine with a good-looking Mario infomercial. Two of them for that matter. I'm not gonna get mad at going to Canada's Wonderland expecting a plot to a roller coaster. But at the same time, I won't be mad when I think there are some layers to them. Bottom line, the Mario Galaxy movie is a lot more than just a faithful or expansive remake of Galaxy the game. It's a ride emulating the same vibe of going through a Mario Galaxy playthrough. But this time you're rummaging through as many other Mario and even Nintendo sectors as possible. And that's just fine by me. And maybe that won't stop you, or even myself, from yearning about what could have been with the more delicate parts of the original Galaxy that this movie just simply passes by once again, and how it could have been capitalized in the medium of film. But I think the most important thing to keep in mind with this movie, and if you rightfully do feel betrayed or disappointed by it, is that Mario Galaxy isn't ruined. See, because look, it's right here. It's right here. It's here. It didn't go anywhere. Look, even his brother is right here. It never left. My point is, we're not missing out on some masterful Mario Galaxy take, cinematic or otherwise, now that some studio has claimed the title recently and didn't really put themselves to task to do it. It could possibly happen sometime by Illumination or otherwise, but most importantly, the original games still exist and will continue to exist on Nintendo's newest console, at your local pawn shop, or literally any other method you choose to get this game. And so will all those emotional and atmospheric qualities that people love about it. It's not going anywhere, and I'd even argue the last thing we should be claiming about Mario Galaxy the game is that there's some glaring missed or wasted potential with some remake or adaptation of it. Galaxy and its sequel are games that thrive and hustle at every possible creative corner a game can possibly do, and a movie just not living up to that is fine. I guess I'll leave things off by saying that to me, wonder is the language of Mario, and not just the game with the word in its name. It's about coming across things odd or fascinating and having to inevitably leave it by past your platforming momentum, making it nestle in your head if it'll ever come back or get indulged on ever again. And the moment when we run and jump and run into it again, when we least expect it, it'll feel wonderful. Maybe it is a bit unfortunate that the Mario movies are so in tune with the Mario spirit that they will just never divulge or sit still with a particular mood outside of dynamic acrobatics or power-up choreography on screen, but ultimately I've settled on the fact that absence makes the heart grow fonder, and I think wonder has that same quality too. And if a Mario Galaxy movie being okay makes me wonder this much, I think it's doing its job, in the name of Mario, just fine.